Hello and very warm welcome everyone. It's Marta here. Welcome back. Today's video is kind of a collaboration, I may say, because I do have one mysterious guest who will appear in my video. So I'm hoping that you're gonna take up the game and write down your guess in the comment. So, my friends, in yesterday video, I was creating those beautiful daisies because I wanted to create the chocolate box. However, I was so excited about how these flowers turn on that I've quickly put them on a card. And as soon as I finished the video, I was like, Marta, you were supposed to do the chocolate box. So, anyway, this is what we're gonna do today. I have some old papers of mine. The stripe one, which you can see here, this is available on Buy Me a Coffee. I will link it down below. But you're free to use whatever paper you have. I will also write down the measurement, what I'm doing here, the scoring points. So whoever needs to have some measurements, you can check in the description as well. I'm starting from placing A4 size card on my scoring board, and I will score as follow. For anyone who's using this imperial metric, that will be 3 1/4, 4 inches, 7 1/4, 8 inches, and 10.5. This is the point, the last scoring line will be the point where I will also cut my paper. But if you're using the normal metric system, I will then score at 8 centimeters, 10, 18, 20, and I will cut it at 25. So this is the measurements. However, this is one advice from me. My friends, if you're ever gonna be making the chocolate box, it's best idea to place your chocolate directly onto the card and score accordingly, because sometimes the same chocolate could have slightly different packaging depending on the country or the measurements. Sometimes the companies, they're doing a little bit downsizing, and you don't want to make a beautiful box and find out that the box is not matching your chocolate. Now, on the shorter side, when I'm placing my card, the A4 size paper is actually 8 1/4. So what I have, the chocolate is 6 1/4, so I have 2 inches free space from both ends. So I just score it at 1/4 of the inch and then follow by 1 inch, and I turn it upside down and did exactly the same on the other side. And if it's on centimeters, that's just 1/2 centimeter and then 2.5 centimeter mark, and then turn it upside down and do exactly the same. So you have the same flaps on both ends. Now we just have to cut almost all of them. I'm gonna leave the little one on a small section as my flap, and then the other one will be folding. And then I've made a mistake here. I decided to leave it on because, quite frankly, it's good to sometimes see other crafters' mistakes and the way what we can repair it. So this make us firstly more vigilant. Whenever we make those cutting lines, just be careful. Have a look which one line exactly you're cutting off, so you're not gonna be cutting in the wrong place. So what I did, I'm cutting here like a long strip almost up till the end. The last two pieces, they're staying, like the longer flap and then the shorter one. So that will be like a little flap to hold it. And then I'm doing exactly the same thing on this line. And here I was just too quick because I was supposed to cut it only the small section, and the second I've just cut this whole piece, I was like, no, Marta, what did you do? But it doesn't matter. Here you can see I'm doing the same thing with the scissors. I'm leaving the other one, the last one, like too small, this long rectangle flaps, and here I only have one. But don't panic. If this is happening to you, you can always glue another piece of the paper. Here you can see a very easy fix. I'm just checking the other paper is more matching, like color wise is more matching here. So I'm just cutting it up to the same width and I will just glue these two together and no one will ever see it. So don't panic, but be careful. Like whenever you're, cutting those flaps, it's good idea. I'm always putting the cross on a pencil mark wherever which one's staying. So this is, a good tip to do, so you're not gonna be making mistake. But even though I mark it, I still cut it off. So those things happen. But I'm just making you more aware that, don't panic. There's no need for starting the project all over again. You can easily fix it and no one will see it. And here, even though it's like not plain paper, it's more like a with design, I will still manage to, match it up. So it's not gonna be visible. Here, I'm just cutting those teeny tiny notches, so they're not gonna be coming off. Like once I glue those flaps to the card, they're not gonna be popping out from the sides. So this is just a cosmetic thing. And here I am just gently pressing on all of my scoring line and the box is ready. Here you will see how it's gonna be coming up together. I will just glue those little flaps on the inside and that will be the base for my chocolate box. I think this yellow and blue color stripy paper is really matching up nicely with those handmade daisies. And here I also have another paper. This is a very old design of mine, which I designed for the craft stash some time ago. And I still have some old prints because when I was working on the design, I was reprinting it, changing a little bits here and there. So I have loads of the prints of that paper and I've decided to use it. But as I'm saying, you're more than welcome to just use whatever paper you have. It doesn't even have to be with daisies. You can dress up your chocolate box with any other flowers and make it for any other occasion. I do think that the sweet treats is something which will go really well for a birthday, for any occasion, or for like get well soon. If someone is going through some recovery, like they're unwell or something, you can always give them that little chocolate box. So that will give them a little, some sweet treat and something like that. And you can also make your boxes a little bit wider than I did, and then you can just stack a couple of the tea bags or something as well, or something else there. So this is a great idea to create this very little treat. And here I have my little assistant who will be appearing in this video. He is now controlling my flowers, making sure everything is the best quality here. So this is my little assistant for today. And it's quite fun. He didn't actually jump up to my desk. This is the highest desk, the one I had, which I've recently purchased. And now, because he's grew up a little bit older, he can jump up as high, and I just cannot keep him away from my desk, especially whenever I'm working. He's just like coming and checking and, making sure I'm just giving me some crafty advice. So here I cut this design paper into the size, and now I am just cutting each one piece separately, so they're gonna be so I'm gonna be having nice following pattern. And again, I'm having a little cuddle break here, so yes, this card actually took me 1 hour, but I do think that I would be able to do it within like 30, maybe 35 minutes in total. However, due to a little cuddling break and a couple things I had a little search expedition in my craft room in searching of the certain die. It took me a little bit longer, but it's very, very easy, and these are great for like a Valentine treats as well. The Valentine will be coming tomorrow, not tomorrow, shortly. What am I saying today? The Valentine is coming shortly, so again, this is another opportunity. You could create a sweet treat and then maybe just decorate box with some more like a red pinkish color heart design paper. So here you can see I'm adding the glue to the flaps, And once I have the adhesive on the flap, I'm just gently pressing, making sure everything's meeting up in the corners and nice and neat. And here is my advice for you, my friends. Use up liquid glue for those little pieces, those flaps. Liquid adhesive will be way better than double-sided tape. First and foremost, the liquid adhesive will give you the little wiggle room, so you could make sure that your ends, the flap and the side of the chocolate box are meeting perfectly. And secondly, once it will grip, it will hold way better. Maybe if you want to use double-sided tape, I would recommend you to use the red tape. But again, I think working with the liquid adhesive is way easier because you can adjust your flap, make sure it's positioned correct way. So once I have my flaps adhere, I am adding another piece of the decorative paper to the inside, and I like to leave this piece up till the end. I usually, what I like to do is I'm putting my flaps together, like, you know, putting the box, glue it, and then I'm adding this piece because this will also be another bit to secure the flaps. So the flap will be glued on both ends to the chocolate box and also to the back side of this decorative paper, and it will be just a nicer finish. Whoever will have a look into inside of the box, it will appear like it's done in all from each side. So here I have this remaining bit. I just want to make sure it's the same length, so everything will be like kind of like visually pleasing as well. It's always nice to have this sort of a continuous pattern, and you have all the elements like the same length, so everything is looking nice and cohesive. But it's very easy. I always work with my pencil rather than making measurements because all these layers, it's very easy to kind of cut it in a wrong space if you following the measurement guide. But if you have the pencil mark, it's usually, you know, very straight from the beginning, like less chances for you to make a mistake. And now I'm gonna adhere the ribbon. Well, I was thinking I'm gonna adhere the ribbon, but then I've decided to actually stick my ribbon from the back. And at this point, before I adhere this little piece, I thought it would be a great space to actually add the magnet. I could put the magnet between the layer and then the other magnet between the top flaps, and that will be also a great way to closure it up. Or you can use the velcro dot here as well if you don't want to add the ribbon. I'm gonna add the ribbon because I think it's just adding this additional elegance and some texture, and I think it's just looking more cute with the ribbon. So here, once I place this little panel, I'm just turning my box upside down and making sure I'm just squeezing it perfectly so the glue will have the chance to adhere really well. So at this point, the inside portion of my chocolate box is ready, and now all I have to do is to dress up the outside area. And for that, I'm just gonna cut a piece from the same paper which I was using on the inside. And at first I was planning to adhere the whole panel, but then I thought I don't really want to cover up this box entirely, like this stripy paper. And I took a little break and start searching for the die so I could cut it something smaller out of it. So here you can see I'm just checking, but then I just thought like, oh, I'm just gonna lose all this stripy paper if I will glue the whole panel. So then I went back to my crafty shelf and I was looking for some dies which will be nice and you know, rectangular shape, so that will be looking nicely. And what I found through my dies, I found this set from the Card Making Magic, and this is very old set, which is unfortunately no longer available. However, if you would like to create something in similar look, what you can do, you can cut yourself a piece of a rectangular shape paper and then use your circle punch or corner punch if you have a specific one, and cut out those corners. Like you can punch them with the circle punch or use the special corner puncher just to cut these little notches on the corners. And I think it's just making this element really nice and elegant. And what is more, this die is also giving me the stitching line, but there is this special tool which is like a piercing ruler, which you could see many times in my videos. So if you don't have the die like that and you would like to recreate it, you can then firstly cut the rectangular piece, cut off the edges, all those four corners, and then go over the piercing ruler along the edges with this piercing tool. Sorry. So I am cutting my die, and I also found this little decorative frame within the same die set, and I'm just gonna be cutting it out from the slightly darker blue color paper. I couldn't decide, but then I thought it will be nice differentiation to have a little pop out of the darker color. And this die set is also having additional rectangular frame, which I will cut from the white cardstock. All the pieces, before I will send it through my die cutting machine, I usually use the masking tape just to hold them in place so they're not gonna be, you know, moving around. Especially whenever you work on the scrap pieces, it doesn't really matter if you put like the die on a whole sheet of the paper and you've got all, you know, plenty space all around. But if you have a teeny tiny bit of the scrap paper, as I'm usually working on, it's very important to stick it, because sometimes when your die will shift a little bit, it could not cut the whole piece out. I did it so many times. Like I had this last you know, scrap piece, and I wanted to cut some nice frame out of it, and then I just placed it on my die cutting plate. And when I was taking it out from the die cutting machine, it was just half chopped off because the die was moved and there was no more, like, paper was very small. So I needed to cut it exactly in a spot when I wanted to. So that's why I secure my elements with the masking tape, so there's no risk of the die to shift. I also found this just for you sentiment, and this is the part of the collection. I think it was released on 5,000 subscription or 7,000 subscription, and again I have this you know, quality check. So the paper is bouncing nicely, so it's a good quality of the cardstock, but I just wanted to take my KA away, so I'm not gonna accidentally chop one of his whiskers or something. Anyway, I wanted to cut the whole rectangle out of the printed paper, but it wasn't enough room, so I've decided just to fussy cut it, and then I will cut this white frame from the leftover pieces. This was the piece I've chopped off from the card I was making yesterday. So you can see, by saving up all those little pieces, they will come handy with the next card. And rather than me reaching for another piece of the white cardstock, I just have the leftover from yesterday card. This is one thing I like to do. I am very keen on leaving the things which I was working on yesterday, because I'm trying to utilize it straight away in my next project if I can. Obviously, if I'm creating like a baby card and I have like all nice pastel color tone, and then I will have to create some you know, order with like a masculine card or something else, and I know there's no chance for me to stick like a pink color bow or something. I'm just hiding it away. But if I'm creating anything in a similar style, I usually try to keep it on and see if I could cut some leaves, some elements. Like here, I also grab another piece of the another die with the little foliage, and I've just you know, cut it out straight away from that piece so I could use it up entirely, rather than sticking it back into my scrap drawers, because I already have a tremendous collection of the scraps. If collecting scrap pieces would be a hobby, I would be definitely somewhere in a top you know, top tier of scrap pieces holder. And again, someone is jumping here right in front of the camera. So as you can see, this work is heavily supervised. So I hope you will enjoy it, and I hope the project will be, interesting for you. I know I've did a couple of the chocolate boxes in the past, and probably something similar, with the same sizing, but it's just good to revise some of the projects from time to time, and just to see that we can create it in slightly different way, embellish it in different style. This is also additional idea for someone else, that you can do it this way or that way, like for this occasion and that. Usually the chocolate boxes is something which is very popular in Poland, especially at the end of the school year. So it's a high season for chocolate boxes making creation, for our teachers, but as I'm saying, this is an idea for any occasion, anytime. You could do them for winter, for like birthday, or thank you, or for just for you, like I'm doing here. It's not specific occasion. It's just as just for you, and that way I could use whenever I need to. And here is one more interesting tip for you, my friends. Today morning, I was doing a little catch up on a YouTube channel, on a YouTube, not on a channel, sorry. And I've seen the video from Natalie. It's NB Cards, the channel is called. She was fussy cutting sentiment, and she mentioned that whenever she does it, she used the flower shaping tool to go around the edges to smooth them down and gently press them, and it looks like it would be coming off from the die rather than cut with the scissors. I've tried myself today, and I must tell you I'm pretty much happy with the result, and I think this is something I could incorporate to my fussy cut elements. Maybe not to all of them, but definitely for the sentiments. If you would like them to look nicer, you can then use the same like shaping tool and gently press the edges, so that will just look like it was cut from the die rather than scissors. So here's a tip for you. And then I'm just working to finish off the front composition. I have this frame with this front panel, which was cut from the blue cardstock, and the panel was cut from the leftover pieces from the yesterday card. And then to kind of cushion my composition, something I really like to use is the florist sizzle. This is something you can buy off the Amazon or eBay or any florist shop. If you ask them about the sizzle, they usually have them in a little packets, and they come with in variety of the colors. I'm actually out of the white, which is my favorite one, and I have to reorder it, but I think this kind of a blue grayish color one, it's also looking nice. It's just something to give my elements a little extra texture, and it's not necessary. If you don't have it, then it's fine. You can just skip the step, or you can use the double-sided foam tape as well. That will give you a nice cushioning and a little bit more of dimension. So here I've just placed a frame, and I will be sticking this element here in the central portion, and I'm just adding a little bit of the hot glue rather than liquid adhesive. I just wanted to have it a little bit up, but not too much. And I just couldn't be bothered by cutting the foam tape to the shape, so I just add 2 blobs of the hot glue, and this is also adhering it really well, but it's a little bit more dimensional. It's not just staying flat. Here is my lovely daisies, and I absolutely adore how those yellow centers are popping out. And I think it's just matching really nicely with the stripy color background paper which I've used. I've got a little mess here, so I'm just cleaning up and making sure I have, a nice view for you. Most of the time, I'm actually forgetting I'm recording. So my desk is just, getting all messy and I'm bringing more and more things over. I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna use that, and then it's just creating a mess. But it's just me. I like working in chaos. Well, I don't like, that's maybe wrongly said, but I'm working in chaos. I usually don't know where I'm going. I'm starting my projects and I don't even know how it's gonna be like ending product looks like, but I enjoy it. Crafting is a one big journey for me, so I like to visit unknown, like see where's my creativity will take me. So this is why you can often see me changing the mind, and sticking one thing, redoing it second in a second in a different way, because I don't plan things. I think this is the better way to craft, is just get your creativity flowing and create something nice without being up to specific things like, oh, I have to copy this exact card and do another version. And no, let yourself be creative, let yourself be more free with your creativity, and you will see how rewarding and how fun it is. So last bit I have here is just add a little bit extra of this white foliage. I think it's just adding this nice feeling to this composition, and again, it's something else to add some interest and texture. And my chocolate box is ready. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this inspiration. Let me know for which occasion you would use that. And of course, thank you so very much, everyone, for all your kind messages, for your comments, for your shares. That's a huge support to my channel. I will leave you link down below to the free stripy background. And I think there was a live class which I had on Facebook. So I'll have a look. If I'll find it, I will link it there as well. But the link to the downloadable page is here underneath in the description area. Here is a couple close-up look of the card. And once again, thank you so much for being here, for being a part of my YouTube family. I am sending you all a big hugs, and I wish you a wonderful day. Stay blessed, and bye-bye.